Yes, Farzin. So let's speak about importance of coming out of comfort zone to achieve success.
Yes, so we all know that as long as we stay in our comfort zone, nothing major is going to happen. So it is like moving, but moving on a circle. It means moving on a hamster wheel. So we look at life, our time is passed, and we didn't achieve anything major. We didn't have any impact, we didn't have any excitement or joyous moments. So we went through the safe zone just to finish our life. I call it tiptoeing to the finish line. So that is what most people do. And sometimes it is even promoted by the society that that is the safe place to be. But the fact is that the society needs workhorses. That's why we are imposed by those ideas. So when we expand our consciousness, we know that we can get out of that trap, because that is basically a trap. I call it dynamic stagnation. So we have the static stagnation. Static stagnation is when you don't even want to get out of bed because something major has happened to you and you're depressed and you don't want to do anything. But dynamic stagnation is moving on a circle. So, and we know that that is not the best way, that is not the best path for our life. So, we try to find ways to get out of that comfort zone or the trap. So, what happens is that there are a couple of options that we have. So, there are basically two schools of thought. The first one says that in order to get out of that trap, you have to act and you have to be a fighter. You have to be a warrior. And because if I say that I try to do something, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Trying doesn't work because there's always a distance between me and the subject that I just want to achieve. So it doesn't work. If I say that I do my best, what happens is that I start doing something until a major block comes, and then I say that I'm not strong enough to pass that, and then I stop. So doing my best is not going to work. The only thing that I can get, the idea or mindset that I can have to be able to go through those barriers, might be this: that I'm just going to go there no matter what, and never look back and always move forward or something like that. So that is what is promoted by motivational speakers and people that we hear, that we, when we have a goal, when we set a goal, we have to go through it no matter what. But usually it comes with a cost. Why? Because when you are doing it that way, you are battling with your own mindset, with your own programming, with your own self image, with your own subconscious mind, the beliefs, habits, the emotions that you carry. And our subconscious mind is a million times stronger than us. So we are battling with a giant that is within. And that comes with a cost. If we be able to win the battle, we might lose the war. Why? Because we might go and stand up on top, but feel like that we are empty inside. We were looking for the happiness because people told us that if we achieve and go build a business, go stand on top, we're going to be happy. But we look inside and we're not happy. Sometimes it cost us our health because we went through a lot of stress and anxiety to be able to stand on top, to build that business, to be successful. So that stress and anxiety affects our health. So we are up there, but we are not happy and we are not healthy sometimes. And the other thing is that sometimes it costs our relationships. Why? Because we didn't spend enough time to curate our relationships. That we spent all of time on our business and it didn't help us. So those kind of things sometimes happen, and we notice that that success came with a cost. So that is one school of thought. The other school of thought is that the
Okay, wait, sorry, let me just interrupt you here because let's just discuss what you already mentioned because it is so much in that. And I just wanted to uh, be addressed more what
yeah,
we just spoke about.
mhm,
Yes, so let's just come from the beginning that you said that the way to achieve something is making decision, right?
yeah,
That you go there whatever it takes, but you are committed to make what it takes to go there and learn to look back. It is the same attitude like burning the boats. Yes, like you burn the boats, you don't have plan B, you have only plan A,
yeah,
and you are committed to take what to do whatever it takes to get there. Is that right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes, so is this the only way you say that the person have to set his mind on and move forward with this commitment and determination?
No, that is not the only way. That is one of the major ways that people do, and that is mostly for people who are using their left brain more. Analytical people, action based things. So we do major actions to go and achieve something. But there are the other opposite of that is using our right part of our brain, which is uh, imagination, which is something like mm, based on the things that we have in the law of attraction. We say that if I be able to attract that thing to me, then I'm gonna be there. So we have that school of thought as well. So what is the problem with that? The problem is that we are not gonna have enough action that moves us towards whatever we want to go. And at the same time, we might imagine whatever we want and try to just bring our emotions in and spend a lot of time in writing our goals and doing bringing that to us, but we have inner blocks doesn't let us to achieve whatever we want. That's why there are a lot of disappointments in the law of attraction community, because they think that if they just sit down and imagine things and have their emotions in there and match their vibration with whatever they want, it just magically appears to their life. But they get disappointed because that is not that is straightforward, because they have those self-image, they have that inner blocks, and we usually attract the opposite, because whatever we hate we attract, whatever we don't want we attract, because that is programmed in our subconscious mind. We pay attention more to those. So if I consciously start to imagine something, I'm still battling with my subconscious mind images and the beliefs that I have. So that is not straightforward. So those are the far left and far right approach when we want to come out of our comfort zone. But the question is there a middle path?
Yeah, this is the right question.
Hmm.
So, what is the secret of combining these different approaches from being ultra just on action plan and not
Hmm.
using your right brain and being ultra just on right part right brain part and just sitting and imagining meditate all day and do nothing and thinking
Hmm.
that somehow by miracle it will like cloud will come with all our
Yeah,
dreams.
yeah,
So how to find that like golden middle in
yeah.
this spectrum of different approaches?
Exactly. So that is the question that we should ask. And the answer is yes, there is a middle path. And it is aligning your conscious decisions with your subconscious mind and your heart desires and inspired actions. If they be aligned, then we are a happy family, because those are different aspects that we have. So in order to do that, we just have to uh, remove some blocks. One of the major blocks that we have is in our own heart. Why? Because there's something called heart wall, and not many people know about it. So more than 93% of people have heart wall, and it affects their health, it affects their wealth, relationship, and happiness. All four of those major aspects in our life is affected by a heart wall. So what is the heart wall? Heart wall is a an energetic shield that we create when we are in distress, when we are in a situation that like a breakup or bad relationships or something like that, or when we are in a grief moment. So we lost somebody or something and we are grieving over it. So we have to protect our heart because our heart is sensitive. Our heart is sensitive that it can break. So it is called broken heart syndrome. What is broken heart syndrome? It's a medical term. It is not just a made up term, it's a medical term. Some people have the symptoms of a heart attack. They go to hospital, and the hospital they examine their heart and they say it is not a heart attack, it's a broken heart syndrome. So a scientist, a Japanese scientist few years back, which was a physician, noticed that there are lines on our heart. When they take picture of the heart, there are lines, like the lines of a fracture of a bone. When our bone is fractured, there is a line that they can see in the x-ray. Similar lines are on the heart too. So those are the fractures that our heart has when we have those kind of moments. So our heart is very sensitive. We have to protect it. How do we protect it when we are under a trauma or dramatic situation? We create a shield around it. How do we create a shield? Our subconscious mind does that. So it creates a shield with trapped emotions that we carry, because all of us carry more than 200 trapped emotions. And those trapped emotions are stored in our body and affects our organ or something that's affecting us. And so our subconscious mind uses that material to create a shield around our heart, and then we live in that shield almost forever until that is dismantled. So what it does is that imagine that our country is under attack and we go to a bomb shelter and we stay there. We don't have any communication with outside world. Now 10 years is passed and we are still living in that bomb shelter. 10 years is passed from the war, so everything is fine, but we are still living in that bomb shelter. Having a heart wall feels like that. We cannot have open communication with ourselves and others and life. And that three things define our core beliefs: relationship with ourselves, relationship with other people, and relationship with life. Those are our core beliefs. So it affects everything. So as long as we have the heart wall, we cannot have two things. One is the joy, which is in the heart. It is not based on the outer circumstances. Happiness depends upon outer circumstances, but joy comes from inside. Where is it coming from? From our heart. So when our heart is closed, we cannot feel that joy. We are looking for approval. We are looking for other people to give us that joyous moments. So we are always begging. It is not a good feeling to have, because we don't have access to the inner joy that is always with us in our heart. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that heart is the source of wisdom, the source of intuition, the downloads that we get. we know without knowing. Sometimes something comes up and opens our eyes, a new perspective, a new idea that we never read or found out about that anywhere. It is coming from inside. It's not coming from our brain. It's not coming from our subconscious mind. It's coming from the heart, because the heart is source of wisdom. So when we have that heart wall, what happens is that we are deprived from two major things. One is the inner joy, and the other one is wisdom. So that wisdom is important. Why? Because all the achievements people had in their life, the major achievements, are based on the wisdom. They got an idea, they act on it, and they build businesses. They build big things. It is not by copying other people. It has to come from inside. It has to be original. And we are deprived when we have that heart wall. When we open up the heart wall, it's like getting out of the present and we have the whole world in front of us. It is the sense of freedom and joy that we experience after.
May I ask you here something? Yes, as you said that those traumas and emotional impact that person goes through,
Yeah,
it it creates those scars on the
yeah,
heart.
hmm,
Yes, and then the person subconsciously gets in place where he want to protect himself. Yes,
yeah,
like to be safe.
hmm,
And when different situation happens, his subconscious mind, because of that experience, just doesn't let him to go that to experience that, because what if again it would happen, and what if again it will be pain. So subconsciously person just like sabotaging different things, and when it happens, this emotional impact happens, that people totally change their personality. Like, if, as you said before, they were joyful, they were confident, they love to be outside around people, and then suddenly they just lose that confidence, and as you said, they feel that they're not enough as they did before,
hmm.
they were before. And this is how it comes, that they expect some approval from others just to remember how they were confident before.
Yeah.
So what can help people to get out of this shell, and to again experience joy, and again gaining back the confidence which they had before?
So I had a few breakthroughs myself. So the first one was at the age of 24. And I started my search for ultimate truth at age 12. And I
Wow.
wanted to find the source of wisdom, the source of joy. I couldn't find it. I After 12 years of search and research, going through different paths, at age 24, I had more than 1,000 books in my personal library, but I was even more confused. So I decided to make a radical decision. So I trapped myself in a room and said that I'm not going to get out of this room until I find the answers that I'm looking for. And it took me close to 5 days. And I turned the light off. I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything during that time. So that was a self-imposed isolation that I had. So after that time, what was the experience that brought me out was that I went through a lot of tools and techniques that I knew, and I gave up because none of them worked during that time. But I was sitting there, all of a sudden I felt a warmth inside my heart, and started to expand, and it started to cover my whole body. All my cells started to burn, and I was getting hotter and hotter, sweating badly, shaking, and all of a sudden there was light and there was sound, the heavenly music that I was hearing. It wasn't coming from outside, it was from inside. And I was connected to the source of joy and wisdom. That's why I know about it, because I experienced it firsthand. So I came out and I had those kind of perspective that everything is inside. The whole outside world is just a reflection that what I have on the inside. That's why every person sees things around them differently. People don't have the similar experiences in similar scenarios. They all see things differently because of their filters that they have. So outside world is just a screen. The projector is inside, which is playing the movie. And so I had that kind of perspective. And then I immigrated to Canada when I was 31 years old. And what happened was that in one of the jobs that I was doing, I hurt my back. And so I had that back pain for 15 years. It was a chronic back pain. And nobody could help me because mm, the MRI tests didn't show anything. They couldn't point a finger to a specific muscle or something that is pulled. So no specialist could help me. And a friend of mine came over and she said that I might be able to help you. And I was suspicious at first, but she said, "There's no harm. Let's try this." And I was frustrated. So she made a couple of phone calls to me and she released the trapped emotions that I had based on the experience that I went through. Because when you go through an experience like that, you're worried about losing your job, you're worried about protecting your family, providing for your family, and those kind of things. And those are the emotions that we carry. So that was behind the scene working, causing me to go to the therapy almost every week to release my frozen shoulder. Almost every week I had to do it. So she released those trapped emotions, and I was expecting the pain to come back next week, but it never came back. And she said that you have the talent to do the same thing for others. So I went through the certification process under Dr. Bradley Nelson and became an emotion code practitioner to release the emotional charges, the trapped emotions that people have that is working on the background, that is invisible condition. Nobody can see it, but it is there. When we have a chronic problem, usually it's related to that. And then I figured the ways that I could uh, use to neutralize the beliefs that people have, because belief is like a circuit that energy is passing through it, and usually there's an emotional charge for the beliefs that we have. So when I connect to the subconscious mind of somebody, it's like a database, all the information is there, and then you can find those limiting beliefs, and then you can neutralize those if you release the emotional charge out of it, and then you can replace it with the empowering ones. So I was doing that, and then and she removed my heart wall as well, and that was another experience that was affecting my life big time, because
Eh,
that was the major breakthrough for me. Because I was thinking, why I see this the source of wisdom is in my heart, and the joy is in my heart. I experience that in that isolation, but sometimes it fades away and other people cannot get access to that. What is the reason? And after my heart wall was dismantled, I found out that that is it. That is the source of wisdom. If we have that heart wall, we cannot get access to that easily. So that was my second breakthrough that I had in my life.
Okay, that is very interesting story. Really, thank you for sharing. So, how we can remove those hard walls?
So removing those heart walls, sometimes we have the process. I've created a process which is called RISE. R stands for recognize, and I stands for integrate. S stands for surrender, and E stands for engage. So I have that process. So it's the process is like this. We have to recognize it first, because there are a lot of things that everybody tells us, but we cannot accept. We reject whatever everybody says about us. We don't want to see them. So the first step is to see them, notice them, journaling. Through journaling or other techniques that I teach, we can recognize those first. That is the first step, and very important step. And the second step is integrate. In order to just say that I have this anger problem, for example, and it comes every now and then, I'm carrying that energy. In order to just reject it, which makes it stronger, we have to accept it. So when we accept it, it means that we are saying that I am separate from that anger. I'm not, if I say I'm angry, it means I am associating myself with that anger. But if I say I am carrying the energy of anger, it means I'm something beyond that emotion, but I'm carrying that energy. Like I wear a white shirt, I go out, there's a stain on it, so it can be washed. So we can look at it from that perspective. So that is integrate. And the third part is surrender. So we have to be able to learn the lesson and leave everything else out. We don't need to carry the charge, the whole charge. We can say that thank you for being with me this long. You can leave now because we learned our lesson. So we release it. And we have the choice to release it. We can choose to release those when we are in that stage. But we have to accept it first. If we reject it, we cannot release it. We have to accept it first. And then,
Yes. Mhm. Yes, sorry for interrupting you. So does it mean that when we accept it and then we make decision to release it? Yes,
mm,
and when
yeah.
we reject it, it means that we don't work on it. Yeah, we don't process this, and we just put it like back into subconscious mind and it stays
Mhm,
there.
exactly. So there is something I call in my book. I call it 100% responsibility rule. If
Mhm.
I say I am 50% responsible for something, for example, I go to work and somebody gives me a hard time, I say that that person is responsible for giving me the hard time. So I put 100% responsibility on the other person. And sometimes I say, no, I do bad thing too to him. So it's 50-50. 50% responsibility for him, for 50% for me. If something happens, then I'm gonna get stuck in the 50% that is related to that person because we don't want to accept that it is it is us. So if I have 99% responsibility and the other person has 1% responsibility, what happens is that when something goes wrong, I get stuck in that 1%. I say that he did that to me. I never say I did that. So it doesn't work. We have to have 100% responsibility to be able to change anything. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's not our fault. If it is something that is out of our hand, what we are witnessing that is disturbing us, we are 100% responsible. 100%. If I say I'm 100% responsible, it means I'm 100% in full control to be able to change it. Otherwise, I cannot change it. It's impossible. So that is part of the integration process, that I assume the responsibility for that, then I'm able to change it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to change it.
Yeah, this is very interesting topic. I think let's speak about this more because people who understand that there is the cause and effect, and everything that happens is effect, and the cause is themselves.
Mhm.
And some people find difficult to accept this because they say, "How can I be causing this and this happened? This person did that. This person did that," and they don't understand even like how can they be the cause. Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's explain this more like why it is important to understand that if it is even not consciously, but
Hmm.
it can be subconsciously, it can be energy field, which again is produced by our heart, yes, that put us in certain frequency to
Exactly.
attract those people in our life, right? Because it is us who were in the channel, yes,
Yeah.
because everything is energy. And
Yeah.
it is not always like we causes something by attention, yeah, but
Hmm.
by attention, but
Hmm.
it is because our thoughts, our body, our heart in a certain level, this is like different channels that all reality exists. Like if we are in AM frequency, we can hear only programs which are at AM. We cannot hear programs which are at FM, right? We
Yeah.
need to change frequency, and then we will be in different channel. So the same is in the life. Like there is so many layers of this reality, and
Yeah.
everybody is operating like we can see them physically and we think that they are at the same space as us, but because they operate at different frequencies,
Yeah.
this reality happening for them in different channels.
Hmm.
And that's why if something happens to us, it is, this is like I want to explain that people understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I hear it many times that people say, no way I could cause that, I even couldn't think about that person. Yeah, so this explains that we are this person today and we are at this channel because of our thoughts, because of our decisions, because of our feelings. That's why we cause whatever happens to us, and the only way how we can change it and prevent repeating the same situations. Because again, people say like, oh, I had that experience, and now again I'm in the same situation, and now again I'm in this situation. Yes, because you are at the same frequency, and this is all vibrates at the same diapason with circumstances and people who are at the same frequency. This is how the law of attraction happen. And the only way is from raising your awareness, raising your conscious, and just changing frequency, thinking different, feeling different. And as you said, that heart, which produces this, transmit this energy, right? Like produce these frequencies, and this is how everything like magnet gets attracted to us, and this is how we can change it.
Exactly. So on average, we have 80,000 thoughts, conscious and unconscious. Most of them are unconscious, and most of them are negative. And that is determining whatever we experience. So if that is true, then we might feel that we don't have any control over the things. We are on auto mode, autopilot mode. And we are, most of the time, we are on the autopilot mode. Unless we recognize that and we start going through the process of awakening and just expanding our consciousness, living in a way that we see things from a different perspective. That way, we cannot assign ourselves with our bodies, because sometimes we do that. They say that I'm black, I'm white, I'm girl, I'm boy. I assign myself with my body. So that is a certain level of consciousness, social consciousness people have. Some people assign themselves with their emotions. They say that I'm my emotion, I'm angry, I'm uh, sad, or I'm jealous, or something like that. They assign themselves with their emotions. Some people assign themselves with their thoughts. They say, I believe this, I believe that. So they think that they are their thoughts. If I be my physical body, what happens if I cut my hand and put it in front of me? I'm not going to be a different person. So I'm not my physical body. If I be my emotions, if I change my emotions from mad to calm, I'm gonna be a different person. No, I'm not a different person. I'm just having different emotions. So I'm not my emotions. If I be my thought, if I don't think about anything, I shouldn't exist. But I still exist. So I'm a consciousness beyond all those. And that is the recognition that when we have, We are not affected by those. That is the difference between pain and suffering. Pain might be physical or emotional or mental, but suffering is an illusion. So we think that we are physical, emotional, and mental. We think that I'm a girl or a boy, and others are treating me like this. I embody the victim consciousness when I am in that situation. But the only way to be out of that victim consciousness is recognizing that we are not our physical, emotional, and mental layers. Those are just the layers, just the clothing that we wear. Then, when something happens, I say that all the problems that I have either is physical, emotional, or mental. Which one is that? It means that there is a stain on it. It can be washed. Because I am looking from a different angle, which is much beyond all those things.
Yeah, so let's speak about who we really are, because again, as you said, some people think that they're their body, yes, and they
Yeah.
associate themselves like, oh, I am, who am I? Okay, I am Elena, I am woman, yes, like I am mother. So, and all
Mm.
associated with that, and it is so important to understand that we exist in three different planes. That we have intellect, yes, we have spirit, and we have body, yes, and that are three different part of ourselves. So we are not our body, we are not our brain, because brain is just a part of physical body, but here we have the mind, and the mind is part of the universal mind. There is one mind.
Yeah.
Yes, and we part of that mind, and as you said, we have that super conscious, and
Mm.
we can connect to that super conscious when we become conscious. Yes, like
Yeah.
when we disconnect from that being just in this 3D reality, and just as many people, they don't see anything beyond what they can see through their five senses. Like
Mhm.
they only believe what they can see, or hear, smell, taste, and touch. Yes, all these five senses. And that's why they limit themselves just by doing things what we can process in their brain. And our brain is just a very small percentage from what we can do, and how we can see this world, and how we can tap into our true potential, which is
Mhm.
like the iceberg. Yes, so that when we speak about brain, it is just the top of the iceberg, which we can think logically. Yes, which we can think like based on what we did before, and what is possible logically, again, if we just reflect to physical things. But the biggest part of this iceberg, which is our subconscious mind and our true potential, is beneath the water. And we can only see that if we disconnect, detach from physical reality, and start using our imagination, and, as you said, intuition. Yes, that it is so huge. Because I really love our conversation, and everything you say resonates with me, because I'm so passionate about this topic, human potential and success.
Mm.
So I really
And that
enjoy.
water, that iceberg is in it, is actually the superconscious. So we are immersed in that. We're connected to that. So we get the information, the inspiration, the intuition from that. So it is, yeah, it's a good conversation that we can have, and we can just help people to see things from a different angle, because sometimes we don't know those things and we are trapped in our limited uh, view. So we can expand our view to see things from a vaster, or see things from the top. So it helps
Yeah,
us to get out of that automatic mode, the autopilot that is operating.
yeah, I like how you said that it is like a trap, and people don't even recognize that they live their life in that small box.
Yeah.
In that small box, with that they just see something that just in this physical, and this is only what they did in past and what they think is possible for them. And outside of box is such a huge big world. And
Yeah.
till they use their high mental faculties such as reason, such as
Mhm.
perception, imagination, intuition. This is the keys which we have in our toolbox, which we were born with this toolbox. And till we use them, till we learn how to use, and it can take time and it needs some skills, yes, as any tool which we can use in our household.
Yeah.
But it really really worth the time and effort to learn, because this is how this box will grab and open. And then we say, wow, it is such a beautiful world. And it was like I was in cave before, and now I came to this shiny beautiful place.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, so I am really so happy to meet you and discuss, like, you said you read thousands books, and I could get it from the first minutes when we spoke, and that's why I just said let's record.
Mm.
Because I knew that our conversation will be so valuable that we just cannot not record, because it can help so many people
Mm.
to raise their consciousness and just start thinking about these things. Yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes I speak with my daughter and I say that we should like speak that and then so people know this, and she says, don't they know this? I said, not of course, because not everybody has mother like you have, and I teach this to you, but other children cannot, don't have that, and many
Yeah.
people don't know. And for
Yeah.
her it is so, they don't know this. Like
Mm.
for her it is
Yeah.
like well natural. I can speak with my daughter for hours about these topics,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't even, like, for her it is like how other people can live and not know this.
Yeah.
It is just something that everybody has to know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yes, so really happy to meet you and looking forward to our next interview. So we will discuss
Sure.
all these topics which we spoke about today more deep, and I'm so excited because I just love this material, and
Mm.
I want to acknowledge what you learned and how much effort. Yeah, because it is really effort you put to understand these things, because it needs effort. It is needs effort not to just be in this, like, how to say, less resistance mode, that all the world is flowing, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
flowing, and just becoming like slaves to
Mm.
certain conditioning, and not just thinking about big things, not living with the purpose, not living with this everybody potential. Because if can you imagine if people would live with their potential, how the
Yeah.
world would look like?
Yeah. It is. It changes everything because everything starts from us. When we want something in the world that we don't like, it means that we have to start from ourselves. Because when we start from ourselves, we are like a light bulb that is on. Wherever we go, we spread that light, and that light is effective because when you go to the dark room, you examine things, you try to figure out what it is in the room. You touch the things, you say this is a table, this is a chair, and this is a library, and there are some items that you cannot find out what they are because it's dark. But when somebody comes and turns on the lights, all of a sudden you know all that. So we can be the light wherever we go if we just work on ourselves and turn the light on, which is within our hearts. Then everything
Yes,
starts to shift.
exactly. I so appreciate you, really. I feel so grateful for you, like, for such people like you, because
Thank
it
you.
is a choice. Yes, it's just a choice to be the light and help other people to understand that they're not here just to live average. Yes, that somebody is genius, and somebody uh, is born with unique talents and gifts that nobody has.
Mm-hmm.
And if people could just bring those talents and gifts on the surface and just develop them, the world would be such a different place than we have now. And
Yeah.
if we look at things which we use, like electricity, computer, mobile, yes, like everything, this was created by people who denied to be ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
who
Exactly.
choose to be even maybe like initially when phone was created, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Mm-hmm.
people said, like, how you want like voice to be transmitted by wires? And like these people who created these things, they were ridiculed, like they were laughed at, and
Yeah.
still they choose to live the life of their dream, and they choose to do what they could see in their vision much sooner before people could see this with physical eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and this is how you say like heart. Everybody, if they just could develop that intuition and listen to it, listen to their heart instead of just being so much attached to this physical reality and being busy, just being all like in these chaotic thoughts and all like the on the always on this like highway, yes, with so much cars going both way, and they are all just like in this house. If people could just understand that they need to be quiet, and as you said, like you put 5 days to connect to yourself and find the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And if people will just I don't say about getting 5 days yet to isolation, but it doesn't even necessary to go 5 days or 10 days or whatever. Even if people could put 10 minutes 15 minutes a day just to be quiet and to be in silence and just listen their heart, ask themselves questions, and just allow their intuition to speak to them, allow their heart to answer, because some people, they just ask the question and they're so busy that they don't even listen to the answers, they don't have time to receive the answers, and they continue the same patterns which they were programmed to
Exactly.
run their life.
Yeah. Very good. So, what is the next step? We have to arrange for a time for our interview or
Yes, so
conference.
now I will finish this recording and we will book our next